Hey everybody, and welcome to the PC Gamer Show. Welcome back. My name is Tom Marks, Associate Editor, and your host here at the show. With me today is Mr. Evan Lottie. Evan, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
And also James Davenport. James, how you doing?
Great.
James, I realized last week you were on the show to talk about a game that you had played.
Yes.
And specifically. And then this week you're doing that as well. And then next week we're going to have you do that as well for a game we can't tell you about yet.
Oh yeah.
We're just keep you've been seeing a lot of stuff lately. Man.
It really hit me. This is not a quiet summer.
No,
not at all.
We talked about that last week too. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. Some
It's
great
been a
games.
busy one.
We're going to be talking about some of them today, but just kind of a interesting uptick in cool indie games right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We Happy Few's one of them. Quadrilateral Cowboys one of them. Death Road to Canada.
Headlander,
and Abzu, which is going to be reviewed on our website pretty soon. Can't talk
next
about
Tuesday.
it quite yet, but.
Yeah, it's just a lot of good stuff right now. This week's show is a little bit almost of kind of an extended now playing section, just because there's just so many cool little games that are that we're playing right now.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about, of course, what we have been playing more casually to start, but we'll also be talking about the new Worms game, which I got my hands on, comes out in a month, end of August. And then we'll be talking about Lovely Planet Arcade, which, James, you reviewed late last week, I believe.
It's a good time.
And then, like Evan mentioned, Death Road to Canada, which you've been playing the heck out of.
Yeah.
And not only are we going to be talking about Death Road to Canada, it's such a cool little indie game that we're actually going to be playing it on air right now. But, of course, if you are listening on the podcast, we will do our best to talk about the game as well. So it is an oral experience as well as a visual one.
Such a dangerous word.
Well, I went with it. I got halfway in, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep going.
You're brave, Tom.
Yeah. And then, of course, we'll be taking your questions from Twitch chat after the show. Let's talk a little bit about what we've been playing recently, though. I want to actually start off. I've gotten back into Duelist in a big way. Weirdly enough, we ran a news post last week about how Duelist added a crate and key system to their game. So exactly like a crate and key system, they expanded their cosmetic options. You can buy emotes and buy card backs and all these other little things with either real cash or the in-game crafting currency called Spirit. So if you have a bunch of cards that you've disenchanted, you can spend that Spirit on cosmetic items. So every cosmetic item in the game is available to purchase without real money, which is kind of cool. And then they also have a crate and key system, which is the key. You get random crate drops, and then the keys are only purchasable with real cash. But they said they're coming to Steam soon-ish. I'm not sure exactly when. I don't think they've said yet. But they said that all of those crate and keys and all that sort of stuff are not tradable in the Steam marketplace. So it goes along with that. Yeah.
So, Tom, I'm interested in playing Elder Scrolls Legends, which is Bethesda's Hearthstone alike. Has some important differences. Tim wrote about it on the site. He's really excited about it.
Yeah, he's very excited.
I'm curious about that game. Tell me in a sentence why I should consider Duelist instead.
That's...
I'm hungry for a card game. I've got a variety of interesting choices. There's Hex out there from the creator of Magic the Gathering.
Okay, so...
No, you got one sentence.
Because it's better?
Okay. But better in which way? It's deeper, more complex.
I guess for me, what it is it maintains the simplicity of Hearthstone with significantly more strategy and more depth. And that's entirely because of the movement system. So the game is God, marketers use this term all the time, and I hate it. But deceptively simple, right? It really is, because it's not any more complex of a game than Hearthstone to understand and pick up. They strived really hard to, in a way, I think, replicate that game's approachability. But Duelist, just the movement mechanics of the game just add a huge amount of choice in every single turn, to the point where I was just thinking about this the other day when I was playing, is that if you're... So a good example is if you're you and your enemy general are facing directly right in front of each other, and you have one minion right behind them, right? You can place, and you're going to place one more minion. You can either place it above the enemy general or right below the enemy general. And functionally, they're the exact same thing, right? You're placing a minion, it's next to the enemy general, you're blocking off one of the two squares that they could potentially move to the next turn, right? But that choice pushes the entire fight in a certain direction. So if you're not on the center line, if you're one square below the center line, right? Because it's 5 lanes high. So if you're not on the third lane, you're on like one of the second 2 lanes, and you put it below them. Let's say you're 1 lane up, and there's 1 lane above you and 3 lanes below you. If you put the minion on the top above them, they have a ton of room to escape. If you put it below them, you're forcing them into a wall. So the game is really interesting because there's a ton of really, really nuanced choice in stuff that you might just not even think about. You might just drop a guy on a certain square, and that affects 8 turns down the road because it's pushed the fight in a certain direction that is that's why I like it. That's why I keep coming back to it, to be honest.
Okay. I kind of want to just drop cards on the board, but... Yeah,
that's appealing too. And Elder Scrolls Legends, I got a chance to play that too a little bit, and I don't think I'm quite as enamored with it as Tim is. He wrote a great long piece talking about the game and its intricacies. And I don't think I'm quite as enamored. I think it's a little too just Hearthstone for me.
Yeah, the most significant difference I saw from watching Tim, because I sit next to Tim in the office, and if I just peek over, I'm guaranteed to see a Hearthstone game in progress. And just through pure osmosis, I've sort of come to understand the game through that. And now it's been Elder Scrolls Legends these last couple of days. And the only difference, besides the art style and so on, is that there are lanes this time.
Yeah, the lanes are interesting.
Yeah, can you go into that a bit?
I haven't played a ton of it,
okay.
But there are 2 lanes, and what that basically means is when you play a minion on the board, or a creature, I guess they're called in Legends, going back to Magic in that sense, when you play a creature, you put it either in the left lane or the right lane, and creatures, excuse me. God, that's one of my favorite part about new card games, because all these card games are rooted in Magic, right? Every card game that's minions battling each other is owes something to Magic, and every card game has to reinvent the phrasing of it.
Yeah.
So they don't have haste, they have rush, or they have quickness, or they have
heroes and champions,
Yeah, exactly. And So as I was saying, though, you put it in one of the 2 lanes, and creatures in a certain lane can only attack other creatures in that lane. And then the other thing is that the creatures that you put on the right lane can't be attacked the first turn they go down. So if you want a big, strong but weak minion, you put it in that right lane, and it will at least have one opportunity to attack before it is revealed. It's little things like that.
It seems like an interesting wrinkle, but yeah, it's still fairly similar from what I can tell, which is fine. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of people who love that universe, and they'll just glom onto this, as easily as Warcraft players did with Hearthstone. I'm sure.
Yeah, there's a little bit of story mode too, which was pretty cool.
Neat.
Yeah, it was neat, and I think the Elder Scrolls part of it is a big appeal, which is totally fine. But what about you guys? What have you been playing lately?
Yeah, I continue to put some time into Arma 3. Arma 3 Apex, the first expansion for Arma 3. Again, the big thing with Arma 3 now is in Apex it has this new map. Maps are kind of like the biggest characters in Arma 3 because they're, Arma 3 is so driven by its community in terms of the content that you're playing. If you're playing Arma 3, you're playing user-created missions, just period. Basically, you have to. So this new map, Tanoa, it's set in the South Pacific. It's a jungle. And it's a really interesting canvas for the game and some of its mechanics. It's not perfect. It doesn't work in all ways. But I like the way it kind of, being in a jungle in a military simulation, fancy technology can't really get you so far because the density of a jungle and the low visibility of enemies, it's really easy for enemies to hide. You can't use stuff like thermal goggles. You can't land your helicopter wherever you want. It's hard. It's just harder to spot people, and that's one of the interesting skills of the game that's made more difficult here, which I really like. The other side of that coin, though, of course, in Arma 3 is it's harder to spot people. And that means when they're shooting at you, you don't know where they are. It can kind of get kind of frustrating. So you have to be open to that kind of unfair experience sometimes in a shooter, just getting killed and you have no idea where that dude was. But
has it just turned into Arma 3 Vietnam at all?
I mean, that's kind of the thought. The new map Tanoa is definitely built and based on Fiji and other kind of archipelagos north of Australia, I guess, in the South Pacific. But there's already people building like Predator mods and stuff like that. I think a lot of the community created scenarios right now are kind of drug raid style missions because one of the factions has that kind of look and feel, and then there's also a police faction. So I'm expecting lots of cool kind of cops and robbers gameplay, which I really like in Arma. I think Arma's best when it's a little bit gritty and medium range rifle combat rather than like shooting somebody through a thermal scope at 2 kilometers in a helicopter with like an HE round or something. So that's fun too. But just having a great time running around a new environment, exploring with friends, basically.
Cool.
Yeah.
Before we move on to James, Borrowed Time TM has resubscribed for 5 months in a row.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Saying now playing LA Noire. That's a little bit of a blast from the past.
Great game.
I actually skipped LA Noire. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a little too Uncanny Valley for me in the faces or something. But
it's weird. It's even today. It's weird. Go back and at least play through the murder mission or the murder investigation. That's a good one.
All right. Well, James, what have you been playing?
A lot. I always have a huge list. I'm not going to look at.
I love that.
I'm always trying to hit everything I can. I'll save Headlander for next week. I think nearly finished with Headlander. But the big one that's really surprised me, well, not surprised me, but I've been following for a while and I'm very pleasantly enjoying is Quadrilateral Cowboy by Blendo Games. It's just Brendan Chung. I think it's just one guy. You may know his work through games like Flotilla or Gravity Bone, or 30 Seconds of Lovin'. Those last two are kind of these first-person narrative experiments, you might say. And Quadrilateral Cowboy, it's a mouthful, is done in that style, this kind of first-person. I think it's a modified version of the Quake engine.
Yeah, id Tech 4. So Doom 3.
Doom 3. It's a first-person, blocky, stylistic adventure with a... I guess hacking is the main mechanic, and you're doing these heists and using a hacking deck. It's a cyberpunk heist adventure
But it's set in like the 80s.
It's set in the 80s. It's interesting, yeah.
CRT, VHS.
Yeah, it's a bunch of old equipment. In fact, one of the first things you do is build your computer. So PC players, this is like a must for you. It was really satisfying. And you're using all this old junky hardware. Everything looks, appropriately dated, but it's really cool. It's so it starts off pretty simple, but you build your deck and you take it to this mansion, and it says, okay, get I think it's a jewel or just a suitcase. You want to get some information, and all these doors are locked. There's cameras. There's like lasers preventing you from accessing certain things, and there's alarm systems set up throughout it. And you can kind of see, looking at this mansion, you can see these light green outlines of all the things you can interact with. And to interact with them, you whip out your computer, and it's literally just a command line interface. And you can tap into anything you can see outlined in green. Sometimes you'll need to plug into a serial port in order to interact with things. And from there, it's literally digging down through these command line programs in order to find out what you can do and how you can interact with things, and then writing code essentially to break into this building. So if you see a door, you will type dir directory or something to see all the available doors you can interface with, and there's like door 1, door 2, door 3, and certain commands you can do are obviously like door.open. And then in a parenthetical after that is how many seconds you want to keep that door open. So door.open, parenthetical, 1,000,000, 99999. seconds, and it stays open for that many seconds.
So it's something like, it's along the lines of Uplink, in a way, but it's physical, spatial problem solving.
Yes.
You're exploring an environment and then sort of saying, okay, what can I do with the systems in this environment to achieve my goal?
Yeah, and I think the first time it really clicked with me was, okay, it's at first I was literally it's like walking up to a door and typing door.open, and I'm like, okay, it's kind of interesting. But later, there's this thing you have to do. You have to extract, basically Indiana Jones style, this prototype thing. I don't actually know what it was, machinery, within 10 seconds, or this automated turret will see you and shoot you. So you have to go to the bottom floor of this mansion, grab this thing, fly out of the ceiling within 20 seconds total. And to do that, I had to fail a few times to see what I could interface with, how the timings. But I strung together, first there was a skylight I had to open, and opening it for more than 3 seconds meant the alarms would go off. So I said skylight.open 3, semicolon, strung it together, wait, and there's a wait command that can, gives you a delay between certain commands, and strung it together, yada yada, until I got this thing out. These doors were opening exactly when I timed them to, and it just felt really smooth. Just busting in and out of there real quickly. Later, there's certain tools you can get, like an automated turret of your own. There's a little guy I think he's called a Weevil, and it's a little bot that you send into small spaces, and you say, what was it called, Pascal or something, that little turtle programming language where you would say, you would draw lines. He's basically that, where you say, go forward 10 and da-da-da, and you can access him remotely. And so it's this really weird... it's like idiosyncratic version of a first-person puzzle-solving game that uses this programming in a way that's not super alienating. It teaches you it pretty well and makes you feel like a hacker. I'm tapping my keyboard louder than I probably should, and hitting enter with a satisfying I might as well be punching my keyboard. And it's it's got great music and a lot of style. I'm really really enjoying that right now. Yeah.
Now, was it, for anybody wondering, Quadrilateral Cowboy?
It's
quite a name, too.
It's a great name.
It doesn't look like, from the pictures, it doesn't look like a coding game,
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to hear that's kind of the main thing about it.
Yeah, it's great.
Somebody else also pointed out, I think it was Battletank in the chat, said that it was, they also made Atom Zombie Smasher, which was, I loved that game. I found that actually, I think through the Yogs cast at one point, one video they did of it. And Atom Zombie Smasher, I feel like, is a little bit of an overlooked gem in their collection, maybe. It feels in general like the company Blendo just continuously makes just good stuff that is maybe never finds breakout success. They just keep making really good games.
Yeah,
cool.
It's one guy too, really. So I mean, he can kind of support himself without having to, become a rich man.
I suppose.
I hope he's rich.
Yeah, that's true. Well, let's move along to our first official section out of the Now Playing of a game I've also been playing. So kind of weird that way. I meant to play this with you guys end of last week, but I still hope we can jump on it, is Worms WMD, which is the newest Worms game. For anybody who doesn't know the Worms series, made by Team 17, who I believe they found their success through the Worms series and then now are starting to publish other games. Like they are publishing Overcooked, even though they have nothing to do with the development of it, or probably nothing to do with development of it, I'm not sure. But WMD is the new game, and the reason this caught my eye and the reason I actually wrote a piece about it for the site was because it's the first new Worms game that they're releasing on PC, because they also released one on PS4 exclusively or something like a year or two ago. But in 5 or 6 years, that's not 3D graphics. Starting in about, I think it was 2012, the Worms series moved to we should do it on a modern engine and not do 2D drawing graphics anymore. And it became this 3D thing where it was still 2D gameplay, but it was these 3D characters, and they added these things where certain worms looked different. Like one had a big head, and one was like a big strong guy, and one was a tiny worm, and they all had different unique stats. Like the big guy had more health, and you could customize your loadout of guys to have these different stat-based worms in your team. And it was just such like a weird choice for the game. I felt like Worms Revolution and Worms Clan Wars were the two that have come out on PC since they did that switch. And they were good, but it was just kind of like whatever. And now they're finally going back to this 2D art style, and it just looks gorgeous. Like maybe I can pull up a couple pictures here just to show you the new art style. But like the game really looks pretty. It's got this beautiful, just like hand-drawn, kind of hand-painted look to it. And it's really, really nice. And it made me really excited for Worms again, because it kind of looks like the old Worms.
So one of the things I'm curious about, as a person who has played Worms but doesn't have a big investment in the series, I've always found the game to be really slow. When you're playing with multiple people, there's a lot of waiting. There's a lot of waiting for your turn, waiting for a move to resolve, waiting for somebody to make a decision. I get that that's just part of the game, but have they addressed that at all?
Yes and no. So first of all, Panzer2 just subscribed, so thank you very much for that, Panzer. But the answer is yes and no. They have added crafting to the game.
What?
Which is weird. So real quickly, I guess what we should just, for anybody who doesn't know the Worms games, Worms Armageddon is usually the name you'll hear when people talk about Worms games fondly, which came out in 1999. They're these side-scrolling 2D strategy, like turn-based strategy sort of games. Not really strategy, but you shoot bazookas at each other. You got little worms. You got 4 on your team usually, and you try to kill the other people's worms before that. And there's like all the shots and stuff have kind of physics to them, and there's wind, so that if you shoot something into the wind, it'll like push it different directions. It's a very silly series. But yes and no is the answer, because they added crafting, and what crafting means is you can find these supply drops full of crafting materials, just in the same way that, like weapons would drop from the sky in the other games. And then you can spend those crafting materials on making pretty much any weapon that would be available in the game, or upgraded versions of weapons. So like there's the Holy Hand Grenade, which is an iconic weapon from Worms Armageddon, and then there's the Holy Mine Grenade, which is like a proximity mine version of that weapon. And the way that this satisfies that is because in online play, you can pull up your crafting menu at any time, even not on your turn. So during other people's turns, you can pull up the crafting menu. You can say, okay, what do I need to get? What should I be crafting for the next turn? They all take a turn to develop anyway. But in local, that's not available, because everyone's either sharing a controller or sharing a screen. So yeah, they tried to address that issue online, but it's still a slower experience for in person. And also, it kind of punishes new players a lot more too, because if you're not comfortable with what the crafting menu looks like and like how many you need for each thing and what weapons do what, because now there's like that many weapons again that all are like different effects of those weapons. Like if you don't know what that is, and you're playing against someone who does and knows how to navigate that menu, like you're way behind. But overall, like, I mean, I never had a problem, I guess, with that, because we would, it was the ultimate hot seat game for me. That and Heroes of Might and Magic 3 were like what hot seat was. I think I almost said in the piece, and then this got edited out, that like I literally knew what hot seat meant before I learned multiplication tables. Like, like as a kid, like I was playing hot seat games when I was 8, and that. I guess that experience was just always like, it was always engaging regardless, except for Heroes of Might and Magic 3, because the turns were so long. What we would do is we would have like 6 people playing a hot seat game in the office on the computer, and then whoever wasn't taking their turn would be in the living room playing Smash Bros. And then when the one person was done, they'd swap with whoever's turn it was next, and you just go into the next room. Yeah, man, I miss hot seat games.
You're playing a good game when you have time to play other games inside of it.
Oh yeah.
That reminds me of, not to interrupt your segment, Tom.
No, please.
One of the most ingenious. We're big board gamers here at PC Gamer, but myself especially. No, I like board games as much as you guys. One of the coolest ways of playing Risk I've ever heard of is basically, people were playing a traditional game of Risk, but with like multiple factions or whatever, and anytime you wanted to battle over a country, you had to play an entire separate board game to determine the result of that combat.
Oh my God.
And the board games were like wide ranging. Like they had a whole list of different stuff that was like certain continents, I think, or even countries were different board games. So like Monopoly or chess or whatever, or less conventional board games. And it just went on for months. But I just thought that was like a really funny way of
That's great.
combining those. I mean, it's really just Risk becomes like a scoring system for playing a lot of other. Risk is like the metagame for your other board gaming experiences. I don't know.
Well, that reminds me of that card in Magic. One of the few Magic cards to ever get like fully banned from tournaments. And if somebody is a bigger Magic geek than me, knows it in the chat, please let me know. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a similar thing. It was when you played this card, you would leave all of the cards on the game in play. You would shuffle your hand into your deck, start a second game of Magic.
Oh my God.
And the winner of that game would then, the loser of that game would lose half their life points or something. And then you would continue the other game. And there was the only card that you got that was completely banned, or one of the few cards that was completely banned from tournaments because it would just take so damn long to actually play.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, Magic definitely has a long history of...
Shahrazad, thank you, Dr. Jeeves, or Jeeves. Yes. I mean... So yeah, Worms does take a long time, but... I was... Basically, why I was so excited about this one is because I was playing it, and I was like... It felt like that original experience again, and something that a lot of commenters in the comments of my article pointed out, is that every Worms game is kind of pitched that way, right? Like every Worms game is it'll feel like Armageddon again, we promise this time. And I wanted to ask you guys, what happens when a series makes a game that's too good and then tries to make that series again? Because I feel like they can never live up to that.
Well, I'm guessing, are any of the Worms games moddable? Because if they were, there'd kind of be no need for major updates, They'd kind of paint themselves into a corner, or whatever other analogy you prefer. I'm trying to think of games like that where they made a really good open thing. It was kind of a platform for additional content, and people just kind of filled it. I mean, Skyrim...
Well, I mean,
Skyrim expansions, I don't feel like they were a big deal to people.
I mean, you can look at stuff like anything Valve does, like with CS:GO and TF2. We'll never see I don't want to say that, but we'll never see TF3 exactly, or Well, okay. I mean, CS:GO is going to be Counter-Strike is going to be Counter-Strike with very minor nerfs and additions throughout time. They're not going to, come with Counter-Strike Go 2 and say, we've got brand new characters, and switch up the formula completely.
I mean, you say
Quake
that.
Champions.
I say that.
you say that, but the engine that CS:GO is based on is circa 2009.
It's dated. It's sure. I guess they're never trying to reinvent themselves. Whereas with Worms, I think they did that for a while with the 3D versions, and I can't remember what the last one was called, but
The last one on PC was Clan Wars, which came out 2 years ago.
Just kind of I don't want to say tacking on features, but you got to have bullet points if you're going to market something like that.
It's just totally different when your game has microtransactions, because if it has a community that's thriving and you want them to stay and keep buying stuff, and participating rather than asking them to move on to an entirely new experience. I mean, this is what Zynga and all the mobile game companies deal with okay, well, a certain number of users have dropped off, or they've reached this certain level where they're not spending a lot anymore. So how do we get them to transfer into Cityville from Farmville? How do we convince them? it's the same thing but better, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, Worms.
It looks cool. I mean,
I'm excited to see where it goes.
I'm hoping that this is the one they stick with for a while and open up and support.
Mod support. I didn't even think about that. Mod support in a Worms game would just be so cool.
I want to say there has been in the past.
There might have been, and if there is, that would be awesome. I mean, but yeah, I'm just happy. It felt like Worms holds a really special place in my heart, and so I was excited to see that the new one wasn't just kind of if I may speak frankly, more shitty looking 3D graphics, because the 3D graphics weren't ugly, but compared to this 2D art,
I'll say they were ugly.
Really ugly.
Bad.
I'll say they're ugly. Yeah.
It doesn't always translate.
I think they were mediocre, and then when you look at what it could have been with this 2D art, it's man, this is really nice looking.
That's part of a trend. I don't know when this kicked off, but when the side scroller started coming back, a lot of developers were making them in 3D, but you couldn't have the same fidelity.
Mighty Number 9. Oh my God.
You can't have the same fidelity in your art. Or it takes a lot more time and resources to make that in 3D look as good as it would in 2D. And we're gonna look back on all these 3D, 2D, I don't know what to call these, side scrollers and just
2.5D.
2.5D. Oh yeah, that's the term. And just kind of cringe a bit. It's
a lot of them.
I think Super Meat Boy is a great example of finding the perfect middle, and it depends on the game.
Yeah. Well, let's jump ahead then. Let's talk about another game that has changed a bit from its predecessor, Lovely Planet Arcade. So Lovely Planet was a game that I remember when Tyler was playing Lovely Planet in the office. What was it, a year and a half ago?
I don't think anybody knows what these games are, by the way, so
we'll pull up some video.
Show them. They're pretty obscure.
They're pretty great.
Lovely Planet was this very strange, very cool shooter at its core, right? Where it published by Tiny Build, and here's a video of the first Lovely Planet, if I can pull it up. But basically, it's this hyper stylized, very cutesy looking game that is actually a hardcore shooter, basically Twitch based shooter, where these bombs are coming at you and enemies are coming at you, and it all looks like it's out of a Nickelodeon show or something.
It's like Katamari meets Quake.
Kinda, yeah. It's not a bad description of it.
It's kind of a puzzle game at its core. I slightly object to the idea that it's a shooter. You are shooting targets.
Yeah, it uses that familiar framework to make something new.
Meanwhile, its sequel just came out, which you reviewed, James, so I'll let you talk about it mostly, but it was essentially a similar game, but now they've completely removed the Y-axis, so you're just looking left and right, and you're not running nearly as much.
They've removed the entire axis. You can't jump. It's out.
Well, you can jump, sorta. But I think the analogy I like a lot is I think, Evan, you called the first Lovely Planet Cup Quake.
Yeah.
Right. So you're flying through the air. There's velocity and acceleration and all these the thrill of that, of just flying through the air and pulling off these insane shots, so to speak, is part of the thrill of that. And this one is more akin to Doom in what it's trying to do. There's 100 small focused levels, and as you said, they're more like puzzles this time around. And without the Y-axis, it means what you're doing is much more quick and much more precise. So a level might start out. The earlier levels the goal is to just shoot all the green men, and you have a timer. Obviously, these are all about getting the fastest time possible. So you'll kind of just go through a level, do that, get the best time you can. Then they throw something in like the bombs that pop off every now and then. So while you're shooting these green men, you might hear a pop, and then that signals that somewhere in the level this bomb is going off, and you have to shoot it before it hits the ground, or you start over. Eventually, the green men get properties assigned to them. So one might have a swirl on his belly, its belly. I don't know what. Yeah, and when you shoot that one, it will teleport. Well, it'll freeze time for a minute, giving you a second to take care of any enemies in your vicinity, and then it'll like teleport you to him very quickly. And what it does is it kind of keeps layering on these small rules. And yeah, here's this GIF I took that kind of shows it. Until you have to, the only way to beat the level is to sort of memorize the optimal route and almost do I hate to say dance because I think that's used a lot, but you have to like perform this very prescriptive shooting performance. And it's not, I hesitate to say like it's not going to make you, it's not testing your shooting skills, your FPS skills, so to speak, but it's testing your ability to react quickly and to kind of figure out how to get through the level. Because a bomb might go off and you're somewhere on the other side of the level and you're like, okay, well, maybe I should have shot that swirly guy first, and while I was frozen, before I teleported across the map, I need to take care of this dude behind me, and yada yada. It's a really like small bite-sized, like, I hate, like a deconstruction of what you're doing in a shooter like Doom or something, and it takes that y-axis like reaction ability you have and kind of twists it and makes something new out of it in like a puzzle game. And there's just some lovely music along with it too, and just heaps and heaps of charm.
Kunifu said maybe super hot without the time mechanics, sort of.
Yeah, I haven't played Super Hot yet, but from what I can tell, Super Hot is there's kind of an optimal way to get through those levels.
It looked almost like, honestly, like we mentioned earlier, like Super Meat Boy, where in Super Meat Boy there is a very specific path that you need to follow, and in order to follow that path, you need to hit these buttons this exact way every time.
And it's sort of kind of learning or using the language of those old shooters. Without a y-axis and twisting it in that way, in a performative way and puzzling way. So yeah, it's something that really kind of, I think these games are under the radar some reason. I think as PC players, the first one and the second one, they're really designed for PC players. And if you have like a history with first-person shooters and you really like those mechanics, these are an interesting way, like they're like a boiled down, caramelized version of those mechanics that you're really familiar with, and I think they're worth exploring. They're like $6, I think. Maybe
you kind of put it in the same category as something like Double Daggers, even though it's very different. Yeah. It's an obstacle course first-person game with a lot of shooting. You're going through these choreographed motions, trying to do your best.
Yeah, it's a great time.
Do you think that the art style hurts it at all?
No, I think the art style saves it. There's too many shooters where, well, not too many.
I just love games with no textures and no animations. Those are my favorite.
Well, okay.
I don't think it looks great.
You don't like it?
I understand where it's going, but I think fundamentally it's like, okay, it's the absolute sign. I'd say it was a total respect for the project, and like, I'm not a game developer, I couldn't make this, but you stumble on games where it's like they have awesome programming but they have no artists, and you can just tell. You can just tell. And like, they're a designer who isn't an artist, and that's fine. But this is the game that they make.
Yeah, I think I still think it's charming.
I think the style is a result of limitations, which can be really interesting.
True. But it's like one guy mostly making this stuff. So
exactly.
It'll work for you or it won't. Like for me, I think it's silly enough, and so maybe like I get the sense that it's self-aware bad. It looks like, I think in my review I said a 5-year-old told the design student what to make, and
green snowman.
Yeah, it looks like construction paper cutouts of this cheeky world. But I think the music and the weird like text readouts, like when you shoot a guy, it's like it'll say like shoot pow or something in like Japanese on screen. When you die, it says killing or death or something really silly. There's enough surrounding kind of the like the bad deliberately or not art style like that I find it endearing. And And when you're losing constantly because you're going to die a la Super Meat Boy, you need to find the optimal way to get through a level. You're going to have to restart many times. It's a light-hearted way to repeat, or a light-hearted thing to repeat over and over and over and over again.
And we're going to see that in the game we're playing next too.
Yeah.
Well, so I want to ask this question again, but I want to ask it with a different perspective. Do you think the art style in Lovely Planet has hurt its success?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
You were because this is interesting. You were very, very certain of no for the game itself, and very, very certain of yes for the success of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think people aren't going to associate a skill-based first-person shooter with. I mean, like if you pull up any image from the game with what it looks like, and it does look like textureless, featureless, cardboard cutout landscape. And until you're in it, that the charm will not make itself known. But if you're browsing Steam looking for like a shooter experience, a hardcore like puzzly intense thing, you're not going to make the connection there.
It reminds me a lot. I talked about this actually a while ago with it reminded me of Snakebird, which is another hardcore. Basically puzzle game. Like Snakebird is actually a puzzle game, but it's another hard, like really difficult game that's really intense, and you really want to like get better and better at it, with a very, very charming, tiny, cute little art style that maybe doesn't really best express what the game is about.
I totally disagree. I mean, it's not like I'm contradicting myself, but I think whimsy is one of the best ways of balancing like difficulty. Like we're going to see that in the game we're about to play, Death Road to Canada. But you just think about TF2. You think about League of Legends. You can think about every major competitive game, Hearthstone, where like you're losing, you're getting crushed, you're dying. What softens that is humor, right? Humor and lightheartedness and just a lack, whimsy in a lot of cases. When you're playing League of Legends as a DJ or something, whatever your weird skin is, and nothing makes sense. It has no basis in reality, and your characters are dropping these funny one-liners from movies. It lightens the mood. It's it's not a serious, stern military theme, and I think that counts for a lot.
Chris mentions also Steven Sausage Roll is in a similar place, right? And Steven Sausage Roll also, that puzzle game also reminds me of what you were saying, Evan, of a really good game designer, probably with just didn't have an artist,
Yeah, I mean, really what we're saying is kind of getting inside baseball at this point. But we're saying indie games that pick weird themes have trouble marketing themselves, like surprise, surprise. It's the same thing of if you make a really interesting indie movie about kind of an obscure subject or has a weird style, it's hard to make that appeal to people because they haven't seen something like it before, so they can't liken it to this is like the Avengers or this is like Sin City or something. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, you can read James's full Lovely Planet arcade review at pcgamer.com. But let's move along to the next game. This is going to be kind of a fun section. We're very excited about Death Road to Canada here at PC Gamer. Evan Lottie especially is right now shaking with excitement. So before we jump into it, let's just talk about what this game is, right? We mentioned it a little bit, but it's basically like a more actiony, pixely Oregon Trail with zombies to a certain extent, and you're trying to get to Canada instead of Oregon?
Yeah, I'd say it's like a 2D top-down action roguelike inspired by Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
With local co-op if you want to. So huge focus on random generation, like you'd expect from any modern roguelike. Random events, random characters, random damage as you're encountering stuff. Random successive hitting as you're fighting even and stuff like that. So kind of like some RPG elements. Your characters are leveling up over time, gaining new skills, but still very grounded in you need to physically punch your way through fights and get stuff and survive. and you make your way from point A to point B.
Or physically run away from fights, as the case is sometimes.
Yeah, but I'm just over the moon about this game. I think it's going to end up being one of my favorite things of the year. and let's show it.
Yeah, let's show it off. Once again, to those of you listening on the podcast, you're always welcome to comment at pcgamer.com/podcast to let us know if this sort of thing upsets you in any way. But we are going to try to keep it a audio experience as well as a video one. Death Road to Canada, first of all, weird game, doesn't, like, it can go full screen, but it's kind of meant not to. Like, it launches windowed. You can turn the music on if you want to as well, just so we have that as background.
Oh, is it not on?
No, it's not on right now.
So, yeah, thanks. And I think we should play with some of our subscribers here.
Okay,
Help
so
us
you're
out.
gonna create some of the characters here.
I think we
Twitch
should. Like,
plays.
we don't necessarily know what they look like because they're just usernames to us on Twitch. But
Yes.
so yeah, there's when you're going to create a game, you can use randomly selected characters. You can just hit this button a bunch, or you can customize people individually the way they look. So I know JBJ Blaze is one of our longtime subscribers.
Yeah, probably the longest at this point.
Tom, could you type in JBJ?
Oh, yes, I can.
Blaze or something for me. So let's say that. Great.
Okay.
Let's say that he is. I don't know. We definitely want, I think, a fighter or a warrior.
It's been around for a while, so yeah.
We want somebody who can punch
hardened.
stuff. Great.
Uh-huh.
And we want, I don't know, practical's good. These are just like different, almost like Fallout style traits where they have like positive and negative elements, right?
The music is so funny too. It's like Roadhouse kind of rock and roll. And these traits, the perk and the trait, right? They have some effect on your stats. But one of the things that I was learning about this game last night is that you don't really know what a character's stats are gonna be initially, or even a little bit into the game. Like you have to have these events that reveal how good someone is at shooting, or reveal how someone is at like taking care of people, and then you can upgrade them as you go.
Exactly. All right. So what's the name of another subscriber we can assign?
All right. Well, Chris86 has been in the chat, and the bots banned him a bunch of times, so we're gonna use his as an apology for him getting banned like a million times by rogue bots.
That's funny. All right. Let's say that he looks like this.
Like,
Oh, whoops! That was randomized the name. My bad.
it was like a Geordie LaForge visor going on there. And there's like weird secret characters as well, right?
Yeah, I think this is one of the big appeals of the
Hope we
game.
encounter.
And we can kind of play in with a certain mode that makes them more frequent. So yeah, hopefully this will work. I've actually never played co-op either, so this will be interesting with James.
This is new for me.
Co-op is good. I was playing co-op last night. We might run into a little bit of a controller issue.
Uh-oh.
I was having, because it's it is at its heart, like, it's a very cool game and it feels very polished, but also it is an indie game and there are bugs and that sort of thing. So as we go on this trip, JBJ Blaze hears rumors that Canada is a safe space, and you guys are driving from Florida to Canada. And you're presented with these choices, right? You're presented with these, do you want to go discover or like stop at this stop and look through this bookstore, or do you want to keep driving? And then when you do actually stop, you take control of your characters and you go in and you search for things.
Exactly. So I'm our hockey stick wielding JBJ Blaze here.
And James, you can press start.
Oh, okay.
And then you'll take control of Chris86 there.
So yeah, as you can see, like, here's like a rest stop, and all these rooms are randomly generated. All like there are different kind of settings you can run into. The loot within them is randomly generated. Lucky there to find a shotgun.
But only if you have ammo for the shotgun.
Exactly. Exactly.
And your weapons will break as you use them more. It's a really just like weird kind of silly looting game at its core. And you don't want to kill. Like, the thing I was interested by with this whole game is that there's no like experience or leveling up of characters specifically. Like characters can improve, but what I mean is there's no reason to just kill zombies if you don't need to.
Yeah. Yeah, which is kind of fitting with the theme, I guess it might make sense, arguably, if you leveled up based on strength or something like that. But yeah, I mean, you are getting new abilities and stuff as a result of events. And if you survive sieges, you get a chance to make some big upgrades potentially. Sieges are like, wave-based survival sort of. You have to survive for a certain amount of time. All right, let's get our ass out of here, James.
Yep.
Got some
What is
decent
this?
food.
Do I have a troll face over my head?
Yeah, I think that's something to do with I'm like leaving you behind or something. I don't know.
Okay.
So yeah, we got some resources there you can see on the left. But yeah, I think like the big appeal of this game is if you just love random, unexpected stuff, if you love surprise, I think this is one of the best experiences of that. Like,
yeah, let's look at this choice that you have here. The group sets up a camp late at night. On the nearby highway is a bunch of abandoned cars. They're broken, but many should have a little bit of gas. Would you like to send someone to siphon gas?
Go for it.
So I'll explain this real quick.
Yeah.
So like almost, I think every event like utilizes a hidden skill, basically. You can see here, like, I see that my character, JBJ Blaze, has really good wits, good morale. He's not really great mechanically, and I don't know the rest of his stuff yet, and I might find that stuff out over time. So it kind of puts you in this guessing game of, oh, like, is this guy going to be good at this type of event? I'm not sure. Siphoning gas, is that wits?
Mechanical?
Is it mechanical? So I don't know. Let's.
I volunteers tribute.
All right. The worst that happens, I think, is you get sick here.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah.
Cool.
Siphons of gas, but accidentally swallows a bit and gets really, really sick that night instead of sleeping. So you got a bunch of gas, but Chris's morale decreases.
Worth it? We'll see.
Well, that's good. I mean, right now with the way the game is balanced, gas is one of the most valuable resources because once you exit the car, either it can break down or you run out of gas. It gets bad.
Here's a choice.
A man in makeshift armor made from athletic gear is standing guard in the middle of the narrow wooden bridge on the road. He's wearing boxing gloves, staring forward at the car, silent as he blocks the path.
So we don't have a very durable car. I'm gonna like to push him off the bridge.
Let's do it.
The group gets out of the car, tries
no.
to push the bridge guard off the bridge. It's no use.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
I have very poor fitness.
Yeah.
well,
So that did not go well.
that was not great. Yeah.
Oh
so
god,
our-
you guys are really hurt now.
most characters aren't very like tough by default. You have to you find these like fitness centers and stuff that you can lift weights at. Even when there's like zombies around, you just like start lifting weights and
Hey man, gotta be swole.
what's the difference between a sporting goods store and an athletic store? We're gonna find out.
I think one has fishing poles.
All right. I don't have any really good melee weapons yet.
No.
Unfortunately.
I'm in a bad place right now.
Borrowed Time says no, that was a great character. So apparently that might have been a character you could actually have recruited at somehow.
Oh, really?
Maybe.
I mean, I found the knight character.
The knight?
But not through that. Yeah, so there's an aluminum bat for you, James. I'll let you grab that, buddy.
It's hiding under his zombie body. Press start again.
Press A on it. Oh, you don't have control?
No,
oh,
I
wait.
don't have control
You took
right
control of my character.
Oh, I did? Shit.
Oh, so this is a problem I was running
Press
into.
it.
It's fine.
So this was an issue I was finding with co-op last night, where actually the co-op will just kind of like it'll think one
fishing
controller is or two controllers are one occasionally. So it's like,
Yeah,
but
take it
that's
back.
like
Take
the
it back.
only bug I was able to run into
can't.
the whole
Oh
time.
god.
It's fine. So yeah, just get whatever loot you can. I think one of the other cool things I'm finding is, and this is one of my favorite parts of, and I wish more roguelikes did this more, is they're just like extraordinarily rare things that you may never ever see when playing, but you hear these kind of like myths about them and just the fun of like comparing notes with other players, you know what I mean? So one of the sort of celebrity cameo characters, so to speak, I think there's about 33 like handmade weird characters that are not randomized
Come back in the car.
that the developers have put in the game. They're going to be putting more in over time. But I had a party with Alvis, who's basically Elvis, or Elvis. Go in the car. Don't go out. Don't
Went
go
too
out.
far.
Yeah.
You went
I
off
think
the
it's you
road?
again now.
Okay, that's weird. It's still you. I control the menu or something.
Oh, weird.
All right, so this is a bug. But so I encountered Garfield, and when you encounter Garfield, it's like the button says recruit him for some reason.
Like Garfield, like the cat.
Yeah, it's like a full-size Garfield, like in a suit or something, but it's Garfield. And you're like, well, he's Garfield. Like, you know, all right, let's see what happens. And then like a couple days later or something, we get transported into this hell realm that's filled with skeletons. And I have to fight my way through the biggest siege I've ever encountered in the game. And barely survive it, and then he does it again to me. Like it was this like terrible result essentially. So we got robbed by some bandits. That's not good.
Wow,
Lost.
JBJ Blaze's loyalty is terrible, which is surprising seeing as he's subscribed for 6 or 8 months in a row.
That's fine. Well, Chris is helping us out here. He's got some decent medical. It's going up there. You see as he uses more of it. So that's good. But yeah, I think it takes like maybe an hour and a half at the most to finish. I haven't beaten the game yet, but like get to the end and make an attempt to get to Canada. So you can definitely save along the way. So I think it's a good balance of like short but not too short of game sessions. All right, so we definitely want to visit the trader camp, especially
super useful.
Have either of you made it to Canada?
I made it twice and died twice.
Okay.
It's tough because, I mean, basically, you want as many characters as possible. Yeah, this guy sells anime. And accessories. So
anime and anime accessories.
I'm gonna elect to buy no anime. It's the right decision.
Wait, is that that's the Hank Hill of anime right there? Anime and anime accessories.
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah.
I guess he is.
I almost got to Canada once. Miraculously, I found a character early on. Oh, this guy.
Yeah.
This is who I found.
That is a naked man with a horse head. That is a naked man with a horse mask.
Yes.
All right, we're doing it.
We must.
The man ignores Chris's offer to join the group, but it soon becomes obvious that he just isn't listening. The car pulls ahead a bit, and Chris reaches over and opens one of the back doors. The man jumps in.
He's super fit.
Horse joins the team. I almost got to Canada as Horse. Horse is a character who cannot swing weapons.
What?
Or at least in mine. Oh, God.
Oh, you got a siege trapped in a house.
So he can't fight? Is that true?
He can shoot. In my experience, Horse could not swing weapons.
He's got 2 frying pans here. All right, we'll see what happens here.
Wait, he just had 2 frying pans? Like, you just found him on the side of the road with 2 frying pans?
Yeah.
All right. All right.
All right, I'll see if I can survive this. It's a really tough, tight environment here. But
And so you're now just trying to survive for an hour?
Yeah. Every now and then you'll get a siege, a situation where you have to survive and you can't run away.
So it's not
spawn in.
It's not just looting.
You might find loot, but yeah, it's typically not your choice. They're where I die most often, I think.
So Chris, the actual Chris, asks, how long is a usual run? Like, how long does it take to get to the end?
It's like 60 or 90 minutes. You can save along the way. I think it's a nice amount of time. You feel like you've had a story with these characters a little bit. You feel like you've encountered. I mean, usually you're ending with characters who you didn't even begin with.
Yeah.
Because you die.
And it is important to note that you can save. Like, you can just quit, but you can't save in the middle of a mission. And in fact, if you try to quit the game in the middle of a mission, like if they tried to quit right now because they knew they were about to lose and they wanted to reload the save, the game would actually delete the save file rather than letting them just quit.
So it's very permadeathy. Oh God.
Oh.
See, I can't make it to the exit there. It's just totally swarms. So I'm sorry, JBJ Blaze. Chris, it's your time to shine.
Horse can't swing.
But we're going to keep going here. We're going to keep pushing on. JBJ, I owe you a beer.
All Horse can do, Horse has a nay button.
Yeah. Wait, Horse just has an A button?
Yep.
Oh my God.
So we can basically select.
What a weird thing.
We survive that siege. We can select a reward. I'm going to pick. Gosh,
I think we need a medical. I don't know if we have a good medical. Well, where's he at right now?
Chris was healing us up last time, so that's fine. I think this one's nice because it doesn't really matter which. Shooting is okay.
Morale and shooting increases.
Yeah.
And it's cool that, like you said, you can have any character be the leader of a party, right? And be like the main character of the game in a certain way. So like, I had a poodle show up named Marcel in my game, and I gave Marcel the poodle
Horse has
some
good.
food.
Well, it's random. Is it random?
Horses attempting to fix. I don't know.
It's usually random. I'm gonna give it a shot though. We might waste a day here, but
Horse was an amazing mechanic. Well,
Horse failed to repair the car.
All right, so things are about to get really bad here. We may wipe because once you're on foot, basically it just throws terrible shit at you. As you can see here, we fall into a puddle immediately and lose some. Just morale because we don't have a lot of supplies. We don't have food, so our morale continues to go down. So yeah, there's a big focus on the game right now in like getting and maintaining vehicles. I'm probably going to get injured here, but my fitness is okay.
As JBJ died in the game, he was auto-banned by a rogue bot in the chat. So, So it was poetic, really, that happened.
All right, this is about to get super bad, too. I have to go through a big horde in order to get this vehicle.
Do you have firearms?
I don't have guns, which is super bad.
Because Horse is useless.
And
Horse, why did you pick him up then?
I mean,
why would you not?
Novelty.
Look at that guy.
But I was saying, I got this puppy, or this poodle named Marcel, who came along with me. Oh, you just got Oh, that was cool.
Hey, you're sorry.
And then I just had the poodle go on missions alone. And this poodle was like running through a sporting goods store.
Look
picking
how
up
evasive
bats.
this guy is, though. He's only got a cop car. That's not bad. Whoops, wrong button. Oh, God.
Can you hotwire
Start the car, start the car, start the car, start the car.
Nice.
Yeah, and they can totally destroy the car, too, if you fail to...
Sweet. Okay.
Wow.
Not all hope is lost.
Yeah, I guess. I've got a useless guy who thinks he's a horse, and Chris
He is a
86,
horse.
who, let's be honest, isn't the greatest warrior in the apocalypse.
Back to fortress.
So yeah, this is kind of like a standard area. It's
Just like a little house
an
sort of
apartment,
thing.
you know, randomly generated. You're just kind of getting as much loot as you can. You know, the other thing that it randomizes is the amount of undead, but also kind of their disposition. So they can be totally passive. Like these guys can just walk right through them. Who cares?
Oh, I thought that was a little person you were picking up, but it was a chair.
No.
I was very confused.
But yeah, as it gets later, they get angry, and obviously you can aggro them if you hit them. So there's a surprising amount of nuance to what is like a, I don't know, deceptively simple game, or like, you know, you take a look at it and you're like, oh, it's like an indie 2D thing. But like
yeah.
the combat system, like the weapons all have different stats and ranges, and kind of like,
I like that there's not a lot of one of the things I noticed last night is there's not a lot of just raw numbers told to you either.
this is bad though.
Oh, that is a lot of guys.
I want that shotgun so bad.
Nope.
I need that shotgun. I'm gonna
You
throw
going back for it? You're throwing corpses at people to get that shotgun. Did you
tough.
get it?
No, I haven't. Oh, this is bad.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Oh
God.
wow. There's a lot of things, Evan.
I can get it.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
you got it.
oh. Nice. You lured the horde around. Horse, no.
Horse is fine.
Yeah, but I was saying I really like that there aren't a lot of numbers, right? Like, it's you don't have like level 5 mechanics. You
Yeah.
have smiley face mechanics, or you have frowny face mechanics, or you have slightly angrier frowny face mechanics, right? And it goes also to health. It's like your heart just starts flashing a little bit when you're hurt.
Yeah, so it intentionally hides a lot of this stuff, which I think is a great decision. It makes it harder for you to make decisions because you don't have perfect information. So it just kind of adds the risk taking, I guess.
Yeah, it also makes it a bit more snackable for me. Just like I'm not. You can sit and groan over a decision you have to make for as long as you want. But if I'm just looking for some entertainment and want to run into whatever the other permutations of horse are.
Horse and Garfield.
Yeah, there's a variety of dogs as well.
Yeah, you can just kind of pop through this game without thinking about it and have a good time because there's just so many weird things.
I mean,
that can
listen to
happen.
this music.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
This music is not like hardcore zombie apocalypse music.
It's not mega grim. It's pretty upbeat.
Yeah,
A horse is dying.
I think.
What did you do?
Horse says nay.
Is
Oh
that-
man,
who is
this
that?
Contender?
The group checks out an abandoned boxing gym and finds a woman there in full
Oh,
boxing
man.
gear.
Is
She
this
is
one of the
wailing on a
super
punching
rare?
bag with blistering speed.
I've heard about this character.
Her responses in conversation are all non sequitur, random sayings about boxing.
Yes, Contender. Oh
You
man,
got Contender.
I'm definitely. I'm super glad. Okay, now we have a chance because she's got great fitness, great attitude. Pretty sure she's a good fighter.
She says, "I remember my first fight with Glassjaw Joe. I lost."
All right, what do you think here? We've got the cop. We got the cop car.
Wait.
I like her enthusiasm.
Okay, so this is another thing I wanted to highlight. I'm glad it came up. Is the road ahead has been flooded out. It looks like your car could maybe still get through it. The group decides to, and you have this take a detour option, plow through option, but specifically because you have Contender, you have the let's jump it option.
Yeah, because
so there are tons of these little almost in Mass Effect when you only if you go Paragon do you get this voice option. It's a similar thing. Only if you have a certain type of person can you do certain things. You got to go let's jump it, right?
Hopefully the car doesn't fall apart here. We'll see.
The group spots a makeshift ramp and has the spectacularly dangerous idea to try to jump the flooded part of the road.
All right.
And you made it.
Nice.
So since you had that Contender, oh wow, she's got an extra heart thing.
It's also the car. You notice the speed. The speed isn't actually affecting how fast you get there. It's just a trait or a stat for the car. Let's see. We're at a campsite here. There's nowhere else to go. Let's just go for it. And we're fine.
We're fine. Got some medical. One of the things I like about the decisions it gives you, and kind of rolls into the funny, the comedy of the game, is that it always gives you a terrible option when you are faced with these decisions. I often run across moose in my playthroughs, and it always gives me an option to wrestle the moose.
Right.
And I always wrestle it.
I fought a bear. I didn't ever wrestle a moose though.
Yeah, the game has a real sense of humor.
Yeah.
It's not just. I think the writing's excellent, but it puts you in these situations that feel super weird and surreal, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if they had made this game really gritty, which there are a lot of great zombie survival roguelike whatever games that are like grounded and gritty and dark, but it feels like weird fan fiction road trip with like Elvis, and I had Link join my party, who's like a total destroyer, like just killed 150 zombies basically by himself for me one time. So
Bandits ambushed. Chris has a plan.
So we can use Chris's wits here. I think his wits are okay.
Is that what that means?
We don't know.
We don't know. Do we risk it?
Chris has a plan.
We'll find
Go
out.
with it. Trust him. It went okay.
Yeah.
Called their bluff.
Nice.
And
Nice.
everyone's morale increases.
That's awesome. So a lot of risk,
we got-
a lot of risk
he's
taking.
witty.
You can see our cars kind of starting to take some damage.
Oh, his
there.
wits are great.
Yeah, he's very
Awesome.
Very witty.
All right.
All right, so here we see that there's not a lot of zombies, but they're really irritated. So I'm going to keep going to another location. We use some more gas, but that's fine. Oh, we have like almost no gas.
shit.
Oh, yeah.
My bad. All right, so we're going still bad. They're hunting here and it's dark, but we might get a new survivor out of it. So
Yeah, and you have you've 2 gas and 1 food, which is basic. Wait, are all of Contender's items are boxing gloves?
she's just going to punch the shit out of these people. All right, let's see how this goes. She should probably. Okay, there's a new character. Who are you?
Cadence.
Looks like a randomly generated character. Sure. I have no idea if you're good, but
cool.
we'll find out.
Oh, so she didn't actually join you. She has a chance to join you or something like that
Yeah.
if she makes it out. You're running through a sewer now.
Yeah, basically we make another decision after we end. These are one of the harder levels. It's just sort of a race to the finish.
Right.
These tend to be some of the biggest levels in the game and not well lit, as you can see.
Not well lit, also randomly generated, so you're not sure if you're going the right direction.
And they're kind of the most mazy.
Yeah.
God, the horse just doesn't get touched. He's invulnerable.
He's also not doing anything.
I love the Contender's holding up the rear here and just mashing anybody down.
Cadence and Contender are like destroying people while Horse is just following you doe-eyed, not knowing what's going on.
So you can see there my nail board broke. There's definitely, like basically wooden or like makeshift weapons have a chance
Oh,
to
there's an exit.
break all together. Let's see if we can get the whole gang together here. Do I have everybody? Oh no!
You left Contender behind.
Shit.
It usually warns you.
Oh God.
It usually warns you.
Oh, no.
I couldn't see her there. Well, we'll definitely bring Cadence on.
We got
Oh, do we
Cadence.
want the food though? Because we have no food, but we also have no gas. I think we need another character here just to help
We
us.
got to last.
So it's amazing to me that you like you said, you actually can have just a completely different team than you started with.
Yeah.
Like these people in Florida all die halfway to Canada, and then the rest of the people just keep going to Canada, not really sure why they ever left in the first place.
Exactly. So I wouldn't be surprised if we die here. We have like no medical, no food, no car, and everybody just got hurt. So we're probably going to lose some characters here. Horse and Cadence not looking that good. And we have to make our way through a pretty dense group of individuals.
Yeah.
Former individuals.
Looking good.
And I have 2 shotgun shells. Let's do this.
It should be noted also, usually there's like film grain and scratchiness all over the screen, and Evan, you turned that off. Oh, Cadence is done for. Look at her in the back there.
Yeah, I don't know if she just doesn't have a ton of fitness. Clearly, she's already getting you can tell she's getting worn out. Is what that is. And I'm kind of leading her into some bad situations here. Let's see, I got some more shotgun ammo, so maybe I can
Some gas
help
too.
her survive.
It's a good, not very much gas, but it's something.
Kiting is definitely again, it's pretty simple behavior. It looks like you're just moving around in 2D. Your characters are magnetizing to you basically, but
If you start to get caught,
Look at this car.
is that a car you're gonna get? It's a food truck.
yep, get in there, boys.
You're gonna get a food
gullet.
truck.
Oh my god. Yeah, there's also there's like that dog car from Dumb and Dumber. There's a Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Like there's a lot of weird.
Of course.
There's probably a tank. Somebody mentioned a tank to me in game. I'm just guessing it exists.
Group finds an empty spot along the road that looks as good as camping as any. The weather is clear and there's no sign of danger. You can either eat and rest, or Chris can say, "Can't fool me." We know he has a lot of wits. See?
We just don't have enough food.
We didn't have
that's
enough
all.
food. Never mind.
Yeah, that's a problem.
He's like, "You can't fool me. We don't have anything to eat."
All right, we're super banged.
not gonna
We're super
work.
banged up. Horse is being annoying. What? Oh Oh, man.
Horse just decides to start running. He runs and runs in one direction and never seems to stop. The other members of the team can only stand back and watch as he disappears over the horizon. Horse has left the team.
Well, that's basically because his morale got bad, but...
What?
You know.
So you get a reward of food if you defend against bandits. So Horse just ran away?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Damn.
Wild horse.
Wow, you guys are about
Can't
to
tame him.
die.
Yeah. I would say this is a worse than average run so far. I left behind an extremely valuable character.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
All right, if we die here...
Plus Horse.
If we take damage here... Oh, God. So you're like the characters are just arguing. You know, like there's just some really mundane stuff.
And by the end, everyone feels worse.
Okay, so I definitely can't.
They demand protein powder.
They also so what are they asking for?
These bandits want protein powder.
I definitely can't fight them.
Protein powder.
They want all of my gas
very
and
buff.
I can't give up the gas. I'll die.
So Cadence is challenging them to a pose off. She loses. It's humiliating, and the bandits take a lot of supplies as punishment.
Well, they just took ammo, so that's fine.
That's not terrible.
I'm not going to use those bullets
So
anyway.
were they mad at each other? Were they arguing because they were they had bad morale?
So temperament is also a different stat.
But they're super happy.
They look like they have good temperament, but their morale sucks for sure.
Yeah, the very angry face.
Okay, I don't like the arcade. We have no gas. We're probably going to die here. All right.
You said casually.
Like almost guaranteed.
Well, that's good because we almost don't have time to play this more. So dying is a good end, I'd say.
Guys.
Whoa, James.
Whoa.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
But there should be a video game cabinet at the end of this level somewhere that we can play and boost one of our stats. I think it raises shooting.
Oh, really?
And it makes a joke about video game violence or something. I only have the shotgun here. This is terrible.
Do you have any ammo for the shotgun?
I have like a couple, maybe.
No, I think
Maybe
it got
not.
stolen.
I think there goes my other character. No, there you are.
Cadence is barely alive.
Barely hanging on. Okay, here it is.
All
Oh,
right.
there's a video game cabinet. Arcade machine seems to be working. It's not very clear how it runs with electricity. Without electricity, Chris considers taking a video game break while he is guarded.
Play it.
Play the game, Chris.
Plays an old arcade game named Death Splatters and really gets into it. So he got shooting and morale increased.
Great.
But 2 hours passed.
And it's
So now it's almost nighttime, and the zombies are going to be very aggressive.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my goodness gracious, that's a lot of them.
This is the worst news bears I've ever seen.
Cadence is actually alive still.
Oh, not for long.
Yeah.
there she goes.
Oh, she done.
Are you up there? Did I lose her?
No, she's dead.
Okay, cool.
She's dead.
Oh man.
It's just Chris and the mullet gullet now.
I mean,
Wow.
I think what's really special about this game to me is I simultaneously, maybe it's worn off a little bit, but definitely initially, I feel the gut punch of loss as I do in almost every other survival game or roguelike of damn, that character, or oh, that was a really valuable thing that I messed up. But it's also just stupid and ridiculous, and I laugh. I'm just doing that back and forth. And I haven't really played a game like that, where it's doing both of those things successfully, and they're not just favoring one or the other, I guess.
This seems pretty dire. You have no food, no gas, one person with very low morale and barely any health.
But we got some fish, so...
Some catfish.
Yeah, we're definitely going down here. There's kind of no way about it unless we immediately find a car. Oh, and we're
You got attacked by a bear. I think you got to fight the bear.
Fight the bear.
That's the only way to go
Fight
out.
the bear.
All right, Chris, this is going to be like a 5% roll or something, I'm pretty sure, because your stats aren't that great. Let's check you out. So your strength...
Strength is terrible. Fitness is terrible.
I'm pretty sure you need those things to fight.
But he's got his wits and a good temperament.
Good morale.
All right,
That's
here
all
we
you
go.
need.
No, he doesn't have good
Just
morale.
gotta
either.
believe.
Ambushed by a bear also being Chris is killed.
Well,
Damn.
there you
Well,
go.
that's the way that you always wanted to go out, right? Chris 86 is killed by a bear.
I think so.
Great.
Well, he did well. He made it farther than JBJ Blaze, so
That's all that matters.
go back to the gym, and we'll look forward to bringing you back into the zombie apocalypse next week. maybe.
Dr. Jeeves says Darkest Dungeon did both of those successfully. I think you'd probably agree with that because you played a ton of that
Yeah.
game.
Yes, oh, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't call Darkest Dungeon a comedy game in the way that this is, but it certainly has funny moments. I mean, you catch syphilis and stuff, and it's just oh, that's kind of gross, but weird and funny. This game is, you're literally encountering Elvis or an Elvis impersonator, and I had a clown on my team, in the car who's just being scary but also funny. So, a little bit of those.
Or a Horsehead Man.
Yes.
Good Lord, Horsehead Man. He did.
So you should play that game.
Yes, that was Death
good.
Road to Canada. For anybody who did not know,
it's like $15. I've put that many hours into it already in a week, in less than a week. So
it has local co-op, no online co-op, but I mean, it's the type of game where it's really, and like you saw, it's really, really easy to switch between like someone playing or playing co-op or single player.
Yeah, and even so, like you could stream that with someone and like to share the experience and without even actually playing it together. So
Yeah.
it's great.
We're just excited about it. I think everyone who's played it in the office is just like
A lot of fun.
It's just so much fun. It's such a silly little game. I'm glad we were able to get a whole kind of run in there.
I think we made it
best.
probably made it like 5 of the 13 days or something.
Yeah.
A whole type of run. It was something, Evan.
Well, thanks to our subscribers for literally putting their lives on the line for our enjoyment.
JBJ Brilles and Chris86, you guys are champions. Not bear killing champions, but some type of champions.
Yes.
The Quake type of champions. I'm never going to stop bragging on that game. Let's move on to our Twitch chat Q&A. Everybody, if you have any questions for us about Death Road to Canada or about anything in PC gaming, about hardware, about Lovely Planet, about whatever else we're playing, anything on your minds, tag us with @PCGamer in the Twitch chat. We will be able to answer your questions from there. If you're watching at home, or you're obviously watching at home, unless you're stalking us, but if you're watching on YouTube or listening on iTunes or at pcgamer.com/podcast, you're always welcome to join us, twitch.tv/PCGamer, 1 p.m. Pacific time every Wednesday. You can come ask us questions live. And while we're waiting for questions to roll in, that game... When you wrote that article about, like, you had Elvis, Garfield, and who was the other one?
Rambo.
Rambo on your team. And I love the image of Elvis, Garfield, and Rambo, like, being led by a man in a horse mask through a zombie apocalypse is just... It's just, you can't beat that, man.
It's inherently funny. And like, it also, because the characters are randomized and you don't know if they're good or not, it provides like this extra layer of security because you're like, oh, it's Rambo. He can probably shoot shit. So you know something about those characters. You can kind of rely on them for skill checks specifically when you're kind of in the dark a lot of the time. So it's just a great fit. I mean, it's like a guardian angel coming down, except it's, Elvis. Or I know right now they're working on putting in like Nick Grimes, which is like Rick Grimes from Walking Dead, and he just like they put out this like animated GIF preview of the character, and he's just like whipping zombies and like muttering Carl or whatever. It's really funny.
Chris86, our valiant bear killer or bear fighter, asks, please elaborate on Quake Champions. I would like to know your opinions. That's maybe a little bit unfair of me because we've seen very, very little of it. I just like ragging on that game because I am skeptical of it, basically. It could be great Quake, but the idea of Quake with heroes, as they've put it, is really not appealing to me. It will depend 100% on their, what's the word? Oh God, like how they do it, basically. Their execution, that's the word I was going to say. The execution of it is really important, and we have seen basically nothing about that. So it's too early to judge, but the idea of Quake as a hero-based shooter is really like, to me.
You should look up the news story that we posted on Sunday, because it did shed some extra light on their intentions, but right now, Quake Champions definitely kind of reeks of compromise to me. It's like, okay, it's Quake, and it's like 120 hertz game, whatever that means. It's gonna be high performance, and it's PC exclusive. Great, awesome. But the characters do have abilities now, and there's that are like specific to them. So they're not classes, but they are kind of unique characters. And like, wait, hold on, you're depurifying the purest FPS in history. You're taking like any dilution of that. Just feel you see it, because Quake is like pure water, right? It's like you can it's crystal. You can see right through it because it's just all about ability, skill, movement, aim, marksmanship, twitch, motor skills. It's all about that stuff. And then you add anything to it, you can kind of see that in the mixture, and it's so visible. So we're definitely hopeful. We want it to be great.
Yeah.
QuakeCon is coming up, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, probably. I can't imagine they don't show gameplay at that,
I
right?
think
Like, they'd have to.
at E3 they did say they will show something at QuakeCon.
They did
Right.
they did a bizarre thing with Doom where they showed Doom. I think it was last year or the year previous. It was just last year. They only showed it to like enclosed doors. They didn't release anything. I don't know if you guys remember that. And
There's so much skepticism around this game.
Yeah.
I think they need to show something.
but there was skepticism around Doom, and it was kind of
Yeah.
unfounded except for the multiplayer. So
Sure. Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, that's very true. There's some concern, James, about the length of your headphone cord, and I've been told that you are welcome to take your headphones off.
Oh,
if
I'm not
you'd like.
straining. I just know
People are concerned. That's
I'm
all.
a quiet guy, and I tend to like talk over here.
All right. Well, Varendil asks, with just a couple days left of the free Windows 10 upgrade, any advice on why or why not to take it up? This is actually a really good question, I think. There's something like 2 or 3 days left. It's very, very few to get. If you are on Windows 7 or 8, within the next 2 or 3 days, you can get upgrade to Windows 10 for free. And then after that, to upgrade to Windows 10, you'll have to pay the $100 or whatever it usually is. I'm not sure the exact price. But I just upgraded my home computer to Windows 10 last night. It was the worst upgrade of the maybe 4 or 5 computers I've upgraded to Windows 10.
Okay.
Guys, I did something very foolish.
Yeah.
This is a confessional, real quick.
Oh gosh.
I didn't have enough space on my C drive, and so I had to use an external to do the installation, and it took about 7 hours to copy all of the files.
Oh yeah. I mean, those external. I mean, you're probably running like some really low RPM.
Yeah.
On that.
Well, it was a USB drive.
Was it 2.0? What? Even at 2.0, it should.
It was a 64 gig Kingston, it's like 125 megabyte per second 3.0 USB drive. But I started doing it, and I just kind of let it run, and I was playing Death Road on a laptop on my TV, and I came back to my computer an hour later expecting it to be done, and it was at literally 12% done copying files, 4% done with the installation, and I was like, oh, God.
I mean, you know it transfers all your stuff when you upgrade, right?
What do you mean? No, I know this was the installation part of it. Because you need like a drive for it to do all the Windows temporary files on, and I didn't have enough space on my C drive. So it was actually running the installation from this USB drive, and it went terribly. But when it was all done in the morning, it ended up fine. This is not answering Varendil's question at all.
You should upgrade.
The answer is you should upgrade.
Yeah.
I think that some of the security concerns of Windows 10 were a little bit overblown at the beginning of its life cycle. If you're worried about that sort of thing, make sure that when it says use express settings, you click no, do the advanced settings and just basically turn everything off, and it won't send anything to Microsoft that way. That's what I did. And there's really, you should just upgrade, because the truth of the matter is sometime in the future down the line, you're going to need DirectX 12 for a game, or they're going to, way down the line, like a decade or whatever, they're going to cancel support for Windows 7 or 8 or whatever that is. And you're going to want to be on Windows 10, and you can get it now for free for the small price of the inconvenience of doing it right now. That's my personal opinion, is you're going to want to upgrade eventually, so you might as well just do it while it's free.
Especially if you're an 8, because 8 is a nightmare.
Okay.
Oh yeah. If that's the other part of this, I guess, is if you're on Windows 7, there's some debate about whether Windows 10 is a better or worse user experience. I don't think it's worse. I think it's fine. It's comparable, but there are a lot of people out there who don't like it as much. If you're on 8, it is absolutely a better user experience.
It's a straight upgrade for me.
Yeah. If 7 is debatable, 8 just upgrade. Good God, stop killing yourself like that. All right, let's take a couple other questions. Warmac Blue asks, have you guys thought about taking suggestions on games to try on the show? Excuse me. Yeah, you're always welcome to send us suggestions. If you have any comments about the show or you want to see us play something, you're able to Tag us at Twitter. Any Twitter messages or handles are down below on the bottom of the screen, but I'm at Tom R. Marks if you want to send me something, or just send me an email at tom@pcgamer.com. After I said that last week, we actually got a ton of, we got 3 or 4 really, really nice emails from viewers. So thank you very much if you're listening for sending us an email. We always appreciate the feedback, whether it be good or bad. We just love hearing from you guys. So yeah, if you have a game you'd like us to play, send it our way. Old question from BattleTank09 says, old question, if the Assassin's Creed movie has pre-order bonuses, is the popcorn DLC?
Wait, was popcorn one of them?
It might have been snacks.
I feel like you got concession tickets or something.
If you paid enough, it was a concession thing. Oh man, that was what a funny little thing.
That's good.
JBJ Blaze, who died valiantly earlier in the show, asks, with the upcoming video game movies, which one are you guys most looking forward to, if at all? Also, what's your most favorite video game movie thus far?
What's coming out besides Assassin's Creed?
The Minecraft movie.
Movie, the Warcraft movie just came out.
You could say
Angry Birds just came out.
It's not a video game, but Lego Batman. It's not based on the game, but you know, it looks kind of similar. I don't know.
The Super Mario Brothers movie is my favorite.
I don't want to sound jaded, video game movies. We all want them to be awesome, and we wanted Warcraft to be excellent, and it kind of wasn't. But it's a challenging thing to adapt into a film, of course. I'm just gonna say Lego Batman, even though it's not really a video game movie. The Lego movie was excellent, I think, for all ages, and just super terrific.
Yeah.
I appreciate any kind of thing that is based on a license that isn't just a collection of references, and there were certainly some of those in the Lego movie, but I just don't have high hopes for Minecraft outside of Minecraft, because the Telltale game is kind of not a great example of a Telltale game for me, and not a great example of what Minecraft should be doing as it kind of extends itself.
I hold out hope for Assassin's Creed. I don't think the trailers are doing much for me.
Fastbender.
Yeah, but Fastbender's good. The director has
falling in piles of hay.
Good stuff before. And hey, if it's it could just be a fun action movie, and that's enough for me. I think those games are kind of at least the plot are B-level writing, so it's I don't take it too seriously. Maybe if the movie's a good time with Fastbender, a handsome lad kicking butt, I'm down.
Yeah, that's my main concern with the Assassin's Creed movie, is that it's going to take itself too seriously, and it's going to try to be this deep thing about what is consciousness and stuff like that, and
then jump into a haystack.
And if it does that, I'm going to be really eye-rolly. But it wasn't. Yeah, that could be a good action movie. I think actually the video game movie I'm most excited to hear more about is the new Tomb Raider one that they're doing, which they just kind of announced recently. Because they've said that the Tomb Raider movie reboots, because it's not with Angelina Jolie, it's a new series of Tomb Raider movies.
She's 50 now. So.
Well, she could do it. I believe in her. She's got range. But this new movie is based off of the video game reboot of the Tomb Raider reboot from 2012, 2014. I can't remember when it came out.
Lara getting hit with arrows and stuff, and pulling them out of her and keep running, and
could be cool. It could be a fun kind of darker Indiana Jones style adventure. I'm into it.
Yeah, it's kind of what I'm hoping for.
I didn't think those games had very good writing personally, but
I think that writing would be fine in an action movie.
Exactly. Yeah, plotted out over a big action game, maybe not, but yeah.
And also, we can see amazing things in that movie where she just is sniping people with a bow from behind a box, and nobody sees her for some reason for 10 minutes.
Archery.
The bow is so overpowered in the second Tomb Raider game. It's amazing.
We should answer this question about graphics cards. Yeah.
From Animus R3X. I've been out of the scene for a bit, and I'm behind on updates. If I have a Radeon HD 6850, how in need of an upgrade am I?
I'm assuming you're going to be playing at 1080, first of all, as a baseline. I think it's an excellent time to upgrade.
Yeah.
That's a fine card. It depends on what games you play, certainly. But if you want to play Overwatch and some other stuff, Witcher 3, at a good frame rate, I think now is a great time. You could just jump into the 9 series of NVIDIA, get a 960, get a 970, and at a really great discount, because the 10 series is out now, and of course that's driving down the price. But again, all the new AMD cards. If you already have an AMD card and you've had a good experience with that, I think it's a great time to jump in.
Do it.
We've reviewed basically all these cards at excellent scores. You kind of can't lose, so just pick the one that's the right price for you, honestly. And I think you'll have a good experience. A lot of good benchmarks out there. We have some on our site, but typically if you just type in this card versus that card into Google, it'll give you some good information about like what kind of frame rates you can expect at certain levels in certain games. Also,
if you are curious about more hardware thoughts from us, you are always welcome to go to pcgamer.com/hardware, where all of that stuff is on our site. The other thing, though, about that question, which is the how in need are you of an upgrade, it really, it's so easy as a PC gamer to just be like, I want the better card, I want the better card, I want the better card. This is the best new thing. I can afford it. Why wouldn't I just get this better card? But the truth of the matter is you need an upgrade when you can no longer play games to what you're liking.
100% agree.
If you can run the games you're playing, fine. Maybe you don't need a card. And if you want to get a crazy good card to run them higher just because, do that too. If you're running games in a way that doesn't make you go crazy, I think you don't necessarily need an upgrade.
Totally. I mean, this is one of the interesting contradictions of PC gaming, right? Because it's about more is more, and you want to be pushing the ceiling of performance and experience that are kind of interconnected, and that's exciting and awesome and something we love to celebrate. But at the same time, I think PC gaming, unlike some other gaming hobbies, which I totally respect and appreciate, it's not about just raw consumerism, right? It's about I can find a great deal because there's a bunch of stores, a bunch of manufacturers that are making hardware and figure out what's right for me at the right time. And you can build a really excellent budget system, and save a ton of money over time on games and hardware. And you don't have to jump into this next generation because all your friends have an Xbox One now. You can stay there and still participate with them, most likely. So, go at your own pace. It's obviously, we certainly feel like right now is an awesome time for hardware, especially, but don't feel peer pressure, I guess. You have to really think for yourself.
Yeah, I think you should just get two 1080s, but that's just me.
James is peer pressure. Yeah. We're saying do what you want. James is the guy there who's like, do it, jump, fight the bear, Chris, fight the bear. But thank you very much. That's all the time we've got for today. Thank you again, as always, for joining us. We'll be back next Wednesday, like we are every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific time. Next week's actually going to be a little bit of a special show, hopefully, at least in our hearts. Next week will be our 1-year anniversary.
Oh, wow.
As of next Wednesday, or I guess technically next Tuesday, because we used to do the shows on Tuesdays, but next Wednesday, we will have been doing the PC Gamer Show for you guys live on Twitch for exactly 1 year. So if you have any suggestions about maybe something we should do special for our 1-year anniversary, send them my way, Tom at PCGamer. Tom at PCGamer.com or at TomRMarks on Twitter. Maybe we can do something fun. Maybe we can do a giveaway. We'll figure it out. Whatever you guys want. We wanted to say thank you, basically.
I mean, making our subscribers fight for our entertainment.
That was pretty good.
That worked out this week.
Maybe it did.
There's some other mechanism by which we can feed people into a roguelike death machine.
And to cap off the show, Max Ursa has subscribed for the second month in a row. So
hey,
thank you very much.
Yay.
But once again, to all of you watching on youtube.com/PCGamer or listening at PCGamer.com/podcast or iTunes or wherever you consume your PC Gamer content, thank you very much, and we will see you next week.